in lower brackets because we don't know what kind of surprises are in store for us, especially with Todak. And hey, they handled Todak really well. 2-0, man.
Yeah, I wonder if the Valley will be considering Harith. But I still think you can pick up the Grok or maybe a Kufra earlier on. But
Grok, Kufra.
Okay, so it's just the same. The thing with the difference between like Grok and Kufra, right? Kufra gets in, he will not be the one to initiate, but kind of hides first and then goes for the first skill and the ultimate. The benefit here is that you're not showing yourself. If you're playing the Grok against the members of Akira as a roamer, you will suffer from the carry's front line damage. Right? So that's probably why they pick up the Grok instead. And now, be considering taking out this Ling. I think they want to go for something, for a kind of squisher marksman perhaps. Because Akira, they can just easily ban out both Claude as well as the Harith.
They were pretty strong mid lane right now with the Eve, right? On top of that, they also have a Kufra up against the Farsa Cho. Mid control is going to be kind of like, 50-50 still. Yep. But with the Ling ban, I agree. I think they might actually be going for something a little bit cheeky here, right? Zane, back at M3, picked up a Granger. Haven't seen Zane on a marksman since. But with the Lapu ban as well,
I can feel it.
There's two dive heroes. I mean, if you go for the ban as well, early on, 3 dive bans taken away here.
Yeah. I think Mobile Zane is definitely going to break the mold just a little bit. It feels like Akira definitely takes something away. Oh no, they're not going to take something away from Mobile Zane. They're going to ban and limit that hero pool for the gold lane just a little bit.
I think you want to go Harith or Brody.
Yeah, I agree.
If you are
okay, we know what they're going for.
It's a Granger.
It's a Granger, right?
Absolutely. I mean, maybe the worst is like, yeah, exactly. I do agree with you. But how do you answer it if you're Akira? Do you take out the Martis first so that they will try to change it up? Or do you go Fredrin so that you'll have a lot of like frontline and peel for your team, right? It just makes sense. And then against the Yu Zhong, you don't have the Lapu Lapu anymore. What else do you use to match up against the Yu Zhong?
I feel like, guys, the Valley is just drafting like a monster right here. In game number 1, they throw in a lot of questions to Akira. Akira doesn't really have the answer. They need to refer to a lot of reference books. But the Valley this time around, there's this looming threat of a Granger, and Akira cannot do anything against it. Because they are first pick. They will conclude everything.
You go.
And there we go.
We got
Ladies and gentlemen, Mobile Zane coming back on that Granger.
Oh, man.
We saw him coming from a mile away, dude.
Yes. Who's back? It's Mobile Zane on the Granger, a signature pick for him. This was the pick that sent Blacklist International to the lower brackets at M3. And now they're doing it against Akira. As we load into the game. Oh, I'm so hyped for this.
Man, this is so crazy. The way that the Valley could potentially use the Granger as well. A lot of CCs, a lot of things that could clump up everybody together. You have the Kufra, you got a Yi, and then it just lines it up for Granger so perfectly. You do have the early game in your bag as well, and it can snowball very quickly.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here you go. You can see the crowd. Let's go Valley. Hashtag Valley. That's how you support Valley. And the crowd's here. You can only see as well the crowd for Akira. It's time to dive into the Land of Dawn for game number 2. Let's see, is it going to be match point for the Valley, or will Akira equalize?
Akira, they have a ton of crowd control between like the Grok, the Akai, as well as the Cho. However, can they get into the backlines? It's true that they have so much ways to close the gap. But because of the poke that can come out from the Granger as well as the Harith, and the fact that you go for Purify, then you get punished by the Eve. It's not that easy to get into the backlines of the Valley. But if they do, that is where their composition thrives at.
Now, honestly, for Akira, right? I don't really like that Akai pick too. At that point, you knew that was going to be the Granger, right?
Yeah.
Picking up a jungler like this, there's no other real choices, right? The Ling was banned out. The Hayabusa gets countered by the Kufra here. It's going to be very tough to get in, especially considering the Valley wants to stick together for the most part. I can see why they didn't go for the Hayabusa, but the Akai here just seems, again, a bit forced.
Really forcing it. And something else that I noticed about, I think what Akira needs to do is to play around that mid lane. You know who's not going to have a very wonderful clear. That's why Akira is already here at the bottom lane, and they're putting some pressure on basic. They need to make sure that this Harith doesn't scale against the counter, which is the carry.
Well, the Herod actually does pretty well up against Gusta Lagusta in this lane. I think Akira are doing really well though because they are rotating towards that gold lane, just stopping Basic from winning in the trades and giving the carry a bit more time to actually scale up. Because the later the game goes, that's when the Yu Zhong and even the Granger, well, I'm going to talk about the Granger more, outscale, not outscale, definitely not outscale, but outranges. There you go, that was the word I was looking for. Gusta Lagusta won't be able to do anything when he's poked down by Mobazane in the mid-game.
And this is a great combination with the Yu Zhong, right? The Yu Zhong closes the gap with the ultimate, and then you have the Eve for long-range damage. Even better range is the Granger, right? So you can follow up after the jumps coming out from both Fight Chicken and Super Shark from a safer distance.
And here goes. Gonna be a great drop down. King will be able to retribute the turtle for now. Super Shark catching Luis in the back line. It's gonna be a first blood over to the Granger player. There's a lot of flickers being, well, Takashi burning the flicker to get to safety.
Hey, it's deja vu. You take the kill, we take the objectives. Akira still opting to go for that and still opting to really now play around their mid and gold lane. That's their main source, well, to carry the game. There's the win condition at this point.
Now you can see the positioning coming out from Akira. They wanted to zone out the members of the Valley, and Luis did a great job doing that. However, they got punished. Like I said, the pokes coming out from the Valley, they're lethal. You cannot be hit by some of those specials, even just like the Rondo coming out from Mobazane.
Bouncing ball. Jumping out, Super Shark gets to safety. You can start to see that, Akira focusing on the mid lane this time round. They need to get a Farsa out to land on the damage.
Looking at just the way that the game is being played now, the Valleys are very comfortable at this rate, but they will have to press the issue quite much faster than you would expect. So maybe come the mid game, maybe around about 7 minutes, they have to be grouping up, utilizing Basics farm, and the fact that he has the Purify, asked the Harry to deal the damage with Mobazane. That's one thing that we can expect from the Valley. But for RQ Brazil, maybe they can just play it out. They have great late game with the Farsa and the carry. And if they do find the openings with all of their crowd controls, they will have the chance to duke it out in the late game.
Agreed. And here also, we have the M4 stats. The Valley is ranked first in Lord secured per game with 1.4, and also ranked first in least deaths per game as a team, right? 7.1 is pretty insane as a team, considering from the games we've seen, especially from the Southeast Asian teams, there are a lot of roamers dying like 11 times in these games, right? Especially the Hildas, I'm calling them out. Here though, Valley, at this point, they also don't really need to rush. They're in no rush whatsoever. They still have that late game solid, and they can play towards the mid game, right? Lord secures number one. Luis jumps in. Whoa.
Oh, he catches it. It's going to be Saija active in the fading arrow strike at the same time. Fight Chicken going in the back. But it's going to be the pin coming out from the side of Super Shark to try to delay some time. Mobazane going in for the Rhapsody as pushes Akira away from the turtle pit.
That's 1-0 though. Akira have a man advantage. There's already a trade being set up by the Valley as Swide is in that top lane. Let's see what happens.
Oh, King jumping in. So open the members, but Mobazane, the retribution landing true.
Mobazane has been a monster with his retribution, man. And he shows it again.
Even in the presence of 4 members of RQ Brazil is unfazed, same level with King, but wins the retribution battle anyways, and then they'll be able to push very quickly. Super Shark already crossing their T's and dotting their I's, making sure that every push is checked. This is the reason why I commend Super Shark so many times whenever I see them very comfortable with their playstyle. And this is also the reason why the Valley is leading by 1,000 gold.
Another fun fact to bring up, maybe after this though.
Maybe after this, but it's out to how Luis. Oh, he kicks the Super Shot, engager, but flickers back into safety. The bouncing ball, the better airstrike. Takashi will be there to swing the rock, but it's going to be Super Shot going down for the first time in this game.
Yeah, back to my point, right? Fun fact. The Valley, back at M3, lost to EVO's SG in the group stages, then went on to the knockout stages to beat EVO's SG. Here, Valley lost against Akira. And right now, it does look like they are in the lead, 1-0, and in game 2 as well.
Oh, Zamanfo is going in. They have Sonata. Basic will be there to take down Saja, and there's no more artillery strikes. And Luis trying to kick Mobazane into safety, but they will not be able to do so. Mobazane still alive, outputting the damage, giving the kills over to his team. Hoon escalates.
It's a disaster for Brazil and for RRQ Akira right now. 2.2k gold lead.
Yeah.
in the early stage of the game, this is the Valley with Granger, right? Again, RQ Akira, it feels like just the communication isn't there. They're going in. They're very hesitant.
Mobazane should have died right there, right? No way in the world. You've absorbed the wave of the dragon from the side of Luis already, and you're not dead. I don't know what's going on.
He's hitting his Rhapsody so well. Every bullet hits, but means that he will be able to like reset the cooldown of the Rondo, so he managed it so well. And he's on point with his usage of the first skill. And by the way, they utilize Hoon's ultimate just to stun. As we've mentioned, the lethal pokes coming out from the Valley, whenever there's like just like a split second or maybe a 1 second crowd control, you have a follow-up coming out from Basic as well as Mobazane. They can take down enemies
we're talking about the clockwork play coming up in the Valley as well. It's going to be the big dragon form going around, but King will be able to secure the turtle for now, unfazed. But the Valley conceal play going in will not be able to find anything for now, not be able to convert.
It's still very intelligent, right? I mean, the Valley, they see the turtle take, they see how many resources have been placed on by RQ Akira, and they say, you know what, instead of committing to this, that's a 50-50, might as well just back off, might as well just steal the purple buff away now that he doesn't have the retribution, right? Mobazane takes it, and you can see the level lead on a Granger, 3 levels ahead of an Akai. We, questioned the Akai pick, and now we're really seeing it, right?
Yeah, definitely. You see the push though. Oh, Fried Chicken.
Fried Chicken going in. It's going to be Fried Chicken that gets kicked into seconds damage. But bottom side looking a bit low for the side of the Valley. RQ Akira, they need to try to push something or do some damage at the bottom lane.
This is great though. The pickups are expensive, but at the same time, it is converting into kills. If they do get a push, this will be a great economical swing in favor of RQ Brazil, and they need to make more of those shots. I mean, you can see that Luis was on point with the stun, and Gusta Lagusta being protected as well from RQ Akira. This is what they need against the Valley. Get pickoffs and convert into turns.
Getting pickoff is the name of the game right here. Super Shot picks up the King. It's going to be real warm manipulation. It's Zaman Force landing down by the Valley. Expensive, but I think they get the kill. They get to walk away with it.
I mean, it's expensive, but if there's no punishment, why not? Another conceal here.
Oh my goodness. The Valley, they're hungry. They're looking for the pickup right there. Gusta Lagusta gets wiped out of the map. Second Feather Airstrike will not be able to do anything as well. The Valley, they were looking for blood.
RQ Akira are just not used to the pace that the Valley are bringing.
Oh my goodness. So they lost their Akai in the middle, right? And then RQ Akira, they were trying to clear the way of top as quickly as they can, but they were found out by the Valley. Gusta Lagusta shows himself. A quick conceal play coming out from the Valley with the hidden dragon coming out from Fried Chicken. Afterwards, you have the Death Sonata. As we mentioned, anybody who gets stunned will be taken out easily just because of the range of Mobazane.
And on top of that, again, something I do want to add is the Farsa pick, right? We spoke about this in the draft, but here you can really see, again, how the Farsa can't really have a say in these team fights when it comes to the mid-stage of the game because of how oppressive White and Super Shark have been. Every single time, well, usually you see the Black Dragon form being popped in after the Feather Airstrike gets popped. But Sagan, he can't even use the Feather Airstrike. That Black Dragon form just zones him away from the fight before he can even use it. And sometimes he uses it for poke, sometimes he uses it to try to get a kill onto Void, but it just does not work out in the end.
Hot take right here, when you go into Feather Airstrike, you're technically stunned, right?
Yeah.
And you're basically a target for Mobazane to land down the Death Sonata. And because you already used that Feather Airstrike, you have to fly away to avoid that damage. You'll not be able to contribute into the damage. But right now, RQ Akira focusing on the Lord right now. This is just consolation prize, but it's up to Super Shark whether they can manage this. It's going to be Takashi going in. King with the heavy spin, pushes basically looking for some damage. The Death Sonata doesn't connect. RQ Akira picks up the Lord.
Such a good sneak.
It is.
Wow. They badly needed that. They needed these kinds of plays. The Valley, though, quick to punish. Able to take out one turret in the middle, maybe up top. Bottom lane, there's a fat stack of minions out there. Mobazane is going to be stealing this purple buff. So economically speaking, the Valley still able to find their openings. But this means that RQ Akira will have a little bit of an opening for them to bridge their way into the latter portions of the match.
Personally, I feel like what the Valley did is super clean. It's like clockwork. They're moving as a big team.
Fried Chicken.
But Fried Chicken, on the other hand, there's so much vision. But here comes the big Black Dragon. Super Shot will be wiped off, but here goes Mobazane at the same time. RQ Akira now find a bit of a pick-up himself. Pick up. Hoon will get kicked right back to Akira.
Okay, the name of the game is whoever engages first, they win. Both of the teams are playing front to back, so it just becomes a dive match now. And you can see it. RQ Akira, the way to turn it around is from a dive set up by the Wild Charge.
Okay, so there will be a holy defense soon. Oh, there you go. But they will still be able to push this. RQ Akira, out of nowhere, finds a lot of stuff.
Everything.
It's like a piñata, right? They found it and they break it open and they get all the goods in the world.
Wow, what a turn. That 3K, 4K gold lead that the Valley took 10 minutes to build is now gone. RQ Kira with one team fight. This is what they need to do. With their backline so vulnerable to these crazy dives from the Valley, they need to create some space. How? Not by going back, moving back with the backline, but by creating some more threat towards the enemy backline so that the Valley's front line needs to move back. Wow. Here, we're going to take a look at the item builds again, Wolf.
See, a lot of like damage output coming out from the Grok. I was actually surprised that he went for the Blade of Despair as his last item. But he went for Hephaestus, Deadly Blade, and Blade of Despair. So much physical damage, which means so much physical defense as well. That will be the way for them to kind of frontline against MOBA Zane. Not against Basic as much, but you can see that he can pack up a punch. The fact that he can also like one-shot those squishy heroes, even the Harith, if he gets flickered upon with the Wild Charge, he's gonna feel that. So you have to be careful if you are Basic, because you have little HP, as well as, you know, MOBA Zane. They can be bursted down by this Grok, with the rapid boots, by the way.
I think right now it's just the fact that you're seeing the Farsa starting to pick up the items right here. Super Shark jumps over into the rush. MOBA Zane follows suit. RQ Akira is not giving any information over the Valley right now. The Valley is a little bit struggling and they're hungry for information.
And now you can finally understand what RQ Akira can do in the later stages of the game with this composition, right?
Correct.
They can open up the map a bit better, whereas the Valley, they're gonna have to stick as 4 or even as 5 in a lot of these positions because of how vulnerable their backline is as well. But now, the only difference is from the early game is the Valley are, well, the score is equalized, the gold is equalized. RQ Akira can just burst down the Granger now. He's not as safe as he was when he just got that brute force.
If you argue, you can even argue, I mean, that when it comes to just the scaling factor for both Akira and the Valley, we'll have to favor it to the Brazilian squad. Yep. You know that they have the carry that can really just carry them into the late game. Even the Grok, when it comes to just the damage department, is dependable. And of course, the Farsa. Yeah. The Farsa is great against squishy heroes. If you think about it, Eve, Harith, and Granger, they're not that tanky.
Nope, not at all. And right now, the Valley are committing a lot of resources to just opening up the map, but again, they have to funnel together as 5. Meanwhile, for RQ Akira, they can be all over the map. They can open up the map one by one because of how tanky their individual members are, and here it is.
Here it is, the Black Dragon form will trigger. It's going to be Gusta Lucas that second all the way in the back line. Going second, picking up the Lord. RQ Akira feeling strong for that, but MOBA Zane going to the depths of the from downtown. White Chicken trying to push down Sagan, but it's going to be Takashi turning it around. White Chicken gets taken down.
1 for 1, jungler for XP lane, and RQ Kira walks out with the valuable trade. They got the Lord.
They got the Lord with the Farsa Feathered Airstrike. Saigon was on point with the positioning, as well as the fact that they invited the Valley once again into their zone. Surely you're going to see a lot of damage coming out from Hoon and Basic, but MOBA Zane had to go in just to go for the retribution. That's why he's quite not confident getting in front of the Lord, because he's still a marksman at the end of the day. While you can see that the members of RQ Brazil, they're very tanky.
They don't have a lot of siege potential now, though. With King being taken down, that's one final frontliner gone. And it does seem like the Valley are just going to be able to clear out the Lord like it's nothing. Might actually be able to just equalize the gold once again, right? There are no more enhanced mini waves to play with, but RQ are still looking for a play.
Is looking for a play, and it's a play that they really need. Fight Chicken go all the way in the back line. Real one meditation doesn't really connect. It's going to be Fight Chicken, will not be able to survive. Gusta Lugusta, the line was the damage is just too much.
That was such a good bait from RQ Akira, man. They understand that they can't push in. They need to utilize their aggression to bait out the aggression from the Valley. And Fight Chicken, again, remember what I said early on. He always pops his ultimate before the airstrike comes in. So here, he wanted to go for an engage, but guess what? RQ Akira have that engage, or that disengage with King.
Yeah, I think right now the Valley is really strong as spy, but then again RQ Akira, they readapt. But Takashi, the flicker ultimate in the back line. It is going to be Chicken and Basic already lost. It is going to be also the Feather Airstrike zoning the Valley. No answer to the bottom lane.
One shot with a wild charge, half HP Harriet, half HP Granger. And all you have to do is to follow with a Feathered Airstrike, not even needing it at that moment as Gusta Lagusta really hit against the Valley with all of the attack speed items that he has in the ultimate as well. And now RQ Brazil, you can feel the scaling factor for them. Into the late game, we know that they have the advantage. For the Valley to be able to take them down, they have to go in together. They have to utilize the Dragon form in combination with the Eve ultimate as well as the Death Sonata. It's now conditional for the Valley. For them to be able to win this, they need to hit all of those conditions.
On top of those conditions, man, I mean, I don't know if this is a curse or something, but after they showed the M4 stats for #1 in Lord takes, they don't get a Lord. #1 in least deaths, they got 8 deaths, right? So right now, the Valley, again, like you said, Wolf, they have certain conditions that they need to meet to actually win the game, and it's to get a clean front-to-back composition team fight. RQ Kira have not been letting that happen, and they've been actually isolating the members really well. And guess what? In the later stages, like you said, RQ Kira scales better. With Gusta, they can constantly be threatening the Lord take.
Lord take happening right now. The Lord down to be commenced. RQ Akira baiting the Lord towards their side. But hold on a second, this time around the Valley, a bit of switcheroo right here. It's going to be Fried Chicken all the way in the back line. Does have the Black Chicken form to gap close very quickly to join the fight. Poon in the basic in the middle lane, clearing the way for now. It is
Watch out for
a
the
big
Grok.
standoff.
Slow push in the top lane. Bottom lane too, RQ Akira managing the waves really well here with those base turrets taken down. Those super minions doing work. And this will ultimately split the Valley up. RQ Akira doing a really good job, but again, just playing with that time. No need to rush. Luis though!
Luis! He catches Mobile Zane, but it's going to be Luis. The ultimate will be get cancelled out. King will be able to fall as well. Fried Chicken trying to direct back line damage, but will not be able to find anything as well. Gusta Lagusta, the light was the damage is a little bit too much, and at the same time, not enough damage from the Valley to end the fight.
What a brilliant setup from RQ Akira.
Absolutely.
The forced errors from the mini waves all the way to the threaten of the Lord take.
Yeah, that was the Lord dance coming up from RQ Brazil.
Yeah.
Takashi waited for a little while after the top lane bush and then went into the Kramer's bush, immediately seeing like Mobazane being impatient and walking out of their own protection. They were baited by King just working on the Lord. And because of that, they will lose influence in the Lord. And RQ Brazil will just take it easily.
The Valley, they lost patience. You can tell them in the, you can see their bloodthirstiness become their weakness.
Yeah, right? You were used to be called BTK, the Bloodthirsty Kings, right? But now their Valley, they need to play it a bit more calmly. They need to stay composed. Itemization in the 19th minute of the game. Tell me what you're seeing, Wolf.
Oh, you kind of need to swap the items now for the basic. I mean, he actually sold the boots already, going for the Divine Glaive, so there's already massive damage, although he had to go for a concentrated energy as well as the Oracle just to kind of last for a little bit longer, but I think that they need more damage now.
Shark going in, the Feather Airstrike will be activated as well. Rune, oh no, he gets deactivated. It's on the real one manipulation. Basic will get taken down the back line. The Lord is actually wreaking havoc at the core of the Valley. And now Super Shark and the members of the Valley is trying to desperately defend. A 4-member defense. Fried Chicken activating, but not enough. RQ Brazil equalizes.
The equalizer here up against a signature pick on Mobazane. The Granger did not find the success they were expecting, and RQ Akira showing signs of life. They're here not just to compete, they're here for the trophy.
And RQ Akira knows the timings. In fact, Harith, coming out from basic, had split second of a cooldown before his Purify is up, but he was already locked down by the Akira.